Henry Ma, CEO of Ricoma. I'm so glad that you agreed to do this interview with me, guys. In case any of you guys don't know who this is, I don't know why you wouldn't know who this is, but this is Henry Ma, the CEO of Ricoma. And I just wanted to talk to you briefly about how Ricoma started and like what was the whole idea. Would it start off with multi-needle embroidery machines or what was it?
We started in the sewing machine business. Yeah.
Like single needles?
No, just plain industrial sewing machines.
Okay.
So not even sewing and embroidery combos. Mostly exporting those to South America, right? And then in the container loads, right?
Wow.
But those had smaller margins, and it was being, it was getting very competitive. It was being undercut by a lot of other, different factories.
Right.
So we thought, okay, what other thing that's related to apparel and garment decoration and textiles can be a little bit more profitable and can have a higher barrier to entry? Because sewing machines cost a couple $100s, and with a lot of these manufacturers, they were just pumping these out, and we just didn't have as much scale as they did. Right. And so we went to a trade show and saw that there are people with embroidery machines, and embroidery is kind of related to sewing, but the learning curve and everything is a lot higher. And there's going to be a lot more training and support involved. And we thought we can add value there to be able to do that versus a sewing machine that you just sell and be done with it.
Okay.
And the profit and margins is going to be higher. And that's how we kind of transitioned more to focus on embroidery.
Interesting. Okay. So initially, was Ricoma producing your own sewing machine in-house?
No. We were just kind of like having our brand on it from a factory, and then reselling that to South America. So not even having controlling the manufacturing aspect of it. So really, you're just kind of like a middleman. You're just like buying and selling, and therefore your margins were low. And if the factory wanted to take your customer, they absolutely could.
So at what point did Ricoma start manufacturing their machines?
So at first with embroidery machines, we did also kind of go the OEM and private label route, and then we realized it was about, I think, a year and a half in. The first year was great.
And what year was that?
That was in 2007.
Wow, so young.
So young. right before the financial crisis.
Yeah. Okay.
So in 2007 we started to resell these commercial embroidery machines that are multi-needle, the ones that you see now, but it was just private label from another factory, right? And the first year was great. It was we sold a lot of machines, but then there started to become problems. We started to see the machines weren't working. There were electronic issues, but because we weren't the factory, we weren't the source.
Right.
And so when we gave that feedback to the factory, they couldn't care less. They already sold you the machine, and what's their incentive to actually kind of build something better? They got to invest in R&D and all of that. So that's when we realized in 2007, 2008 that to really make this viable long term, we had to manufacture our own. Okay. Because then we knew what the problems were, we can tackle that, and we can control the quality and also make changes based on how we wanted it.
Okay.
And that's
so
when
you
we
guys kind of took something that you already had, started manufacturing it, and changed some inner components so that it would be more durable?
Correct. More durable with more features. It started out back in the day in 2000. I think our own manufacturing machine first came out in 2009. So it took about a year and a half to actually go through the R&D and all of that. And then it came out in 2009. It was like a keypad control panel, not the touchscreen that it is today. It was keypad, and that was the first generation of machines. And then we constantly iterated on top of that. But because we built an R&D facility and the whole manufacturing process, and we were able to control that, that is a lot more kind of within our control than telling someone else, hey, you got to make these changes, and they're like, no, I don't want to do that.
Right. Interesting. Okay, so at what point or what year and how effective was it once you guys started? When did you switch to kind of how can I word this? When did you switch to kind of push the machines more like advertising?
Okay.
Was that right off the bat? Because you guys, as far as I'm concerned, as far as I see, have the best marketing advertising. When did you start to implement that strategy, and how big of an effect did it have on the business? Yeah,
that was probably back in, I would say 2016. I still remember kind of our first marketing hire.
And was it like a commercial, or what was it?
No, it was just really just kind of building up our social media presence, maintaining the Facebook page, and you know, back in the day, it was not everyone had a Facebook page still, and it was just making consistent posts, even on just Facebook. And we still had we had Google Ads in the beginning, maybe about $500 every single month. So not a ton
of money, just $500.
Right, just $500, and then we get leads in, but at that time our sales process wasn't optimized.
Right.
You know, you would get a lead in, and then we maybe had like 3 or 4 salespeople.
Right.
They wouldn't follow up with like half the leads, or they forget, and then so like you start tweaking these little things in your business. Then you realize it's like, I got my process dialed in.
Yeah.
Now I can go from $500 a month to $5,000 a month to $50,000 a month, and my process remained the same. Like, and then you hire more people to be able to fill those spots. Now you can scale at a much faster pace. So we started in around 2016 when we first made a decision to do marketing in-house. Because before that, it was Miguel, our VP of operations now, that used to be a sales rep, right?
That was that much about marketing.
No, he didn't. Right. But we told him, it's like, okay, when you get the time, post a photo, and that's what he did. And if you look back, if you literally scroll back to our Facebook feed back in 2015 and before, it was like a post every 3 or 4 months. Because it was whatever he had time. Okay, post something, write something, you know, and that's it. Right. But when we started to do that on a conscientious basis, everything changed.
Okay. So what I'm hearing is marketing promotion definitely hands down was kind of like the turning point.
Yes, it was definitely one of the turning points. And obviously, when that flood of inquiries started coming in, there was further smaller turning points where you had to be able to accommodate that level of inflow, or else you're just spending money to just waste.
You can't fill the orders.
You can't fill the orders. Right, you got to control your inventory. You got to have enough inventory. So before you had too much inventory because you weren't selling. Now you have too little. So just tackling each of those challenges. If you scale just from like so quickly, you're still gonna flop. You're still gonna fall on your face because you're not set up to do that.
Exactly. Yeah. So it's good. It was a gradual process. So now, when did you guys decide? Okay, how can we help people purchase this easier? And what did that look like? How many companies did you have to say, hey, can we work with you, or this is the idea that I have, or did they approach you guys? What was it?
No, it was definitely us thinking about how to make it more affordable for consumers to buy this, to get into it, to start their business. And in the beginning, we were doing a lot of like leasing, like lease to own financing with business financing. Okay, and those come with an interest rate. It could be 7%, 8%. 15%, depending on what your business credit is. But also, a lot of the customers that we were catering to were startups. And they didn't have a business. They didn't have business credit. They didn't have a history. So that's why we ventured into consumer credit to be like, okay, if you are able to have a good consumer credit, you can start a business for as low as $200 a month, $150 a month. And then that opened up a lot more doors and a lot more opportunities for people. Right, exactly. And then when they grow, right, and they're having that success, other people see that success as well, and they're like, hey, I have good credit. I can start that too.
Exactly.
And really, like, I don't think you can go anywhere. Even like with franchises, any business that you can say that you can literally start a business for less than $200 a month. I don't think there's anywhere you can do that in any sort of business for $200.
So, I'd like to thank you for making that available. And I think like a lot of other companies, I'm sure everybody's seen it starting to follow suit.
Right.
But Ricoma started that first. I can vouch for it because around the time when I was doing my research, that was one of the key decisions that made me buy my machine, because I researched this, researched that, didn't like that about this, didn't like that about this, heard some stuff about this, researched myself, and said, I'm gonna try that, but now how do I get it?
Right.
Okay, 16 grand. Okay, well how do I, wait, what? 0%? What? Hold on, mine is pretty good, so
Right.
that was an awesome decision to do.
No, for sure.
It really like you said, it helped the average person be able to start a business, a lucrative business at that. And now that you guys are having things like Deco Summit, you guys are bringing in professionals and other people in the industry that have experience to teach us more of how to run the business efficiently, processes that make sense. And
correct. And I was even talking to someone just now, and they were even saying like entrenched players in this market that started 100 years ago, right? The people that were manufacturing these machines like 80 years ago.
Yeah.
They all wanted the established players. They were catering to just the established people.
Right.
Like if you didn't have the need for an 8-head, I don't want to talk to you.
Right.
Like that kind of stuff. Because why? They knew that the education of new people is going to take a long time.
Yeah.
They wanted to get immediate results from someone that's like, yeah, I'm running like a 50-person shop, 3 different shifts, and I need 2 8-heads, 3 8-heads from you. Like that's their type of customer. Right. And while that's that wasn't.
How do you get there?
Right. How do you get there?
Right.
How did that person get there? There wasn't a company that filled the void for how to get that person there.
That's smart.
Right.
Smart.
And so when we were able to open that up to a lot more people, people started to get in, and then now I'm hearing a lot more people. It's like I started out with a single head.
Yeah.
Now I have a 3-head. I have a 6-head.
Yeah.
I have a DTG.
And I'm gradually growing like that too. And coming to this event, I think you guys had 2 gentlemen here. One that has 24 heads, another one that I think had a 6-head. Now he just bought a 4-head or something like that.
Yeah.
And I'm seeing the growth in how you do it, and they're explaining to me, because I was here in their classes, and I'm listening the process and why you'd want to do that, and they're explaining to me profit margins and why you'd want to, and how much time it would save. And yeah, I think very valuable stuff at
Exactly.
the Summit.
Yeah, because when you educate the market, yes, it's going to take longer.
Yeah.
And that's why we have so much. That content takes time.
Yeah.
As you very well know,
Right.
right? Content takes time. Coming up with content takes time. Shooting it takes time. Posting takes time. And education takes time.
Yeah.
But when you do it right, that loyalty is forever.
Yeah.
And then you get a customer from a small single needle all the way to a 6-head.
Yep.
And that customer is going to be with you for the entire journey.
That's true.
But the other guys just wanted to get the 6-head, and there's immediate gratification.
Right.
But it's going to be a smaller segment of just those people.
That's true.
We took a different route, and now we're selling a lot more than all of these guys combined.
Right. Hey man, thank you so much. Thank you, Henry.
No, of course.
All right, you guys, make sure you guys follow Ricoma on all social medias. And hey, if you guys want to purchase any of these machines, single head, multi-heads, Ricoma affiliate link down in the description below. That goes Summit 2022.